All my founders, all my business owners, everyone that is just having ideas and building them out, it's absolutely amazing. But here's how not to get hacked if you're building out or vibe coding, whatever you want to call it. First of all, what I do want to mention is that it's absolutely amazing seeing all the people that are vibe coding, everyone that's able to bring their ideas to fruition, especially those that didn't go to university to study software engineering or computer science like I did, or someone without any sort of technical background, just someone with an idea. So let me even get some stats up here just to show you guys as well. So apparently 40%, they say 40% of the code on GitHub, where people essentially store their code, is made by AI now. Obviously, AI has only been around, or Claude Code's only been around for about a year or maybe 2 years plus. I think 2 years maybe. And for it to be 40% of the code, GitHub was made, when was GitHub made? Just get this up. GitHub was founded in 2007, and most of the code, or 40% of the code to be exact, is made by AI. We're essentially seeing exactly where it's going to go in the future. What AI isn't optimizing for, and what a lot of people don't know, is that a lot of security issues are coming by people building out quick, and people without experience building out even quicker than that. So we can see this because Anthropic, the people that made Claude Code themselves, had a data breach recently. Vercel, the thing that people use to basically deploy their website or deploy their software, they got hacked recently. A number of other vulnerabilities that the list goes on and on. So obviously these are massive companies, the Anthropics, the Vercels of the world. These are massive companies, right? But let's compare this to you, that early stage founder, the person with the idea. If you think that these big companies can get these vulnerabilities using AI to build out their products, don't you think that also you can also get these issues as well? Obviously, everyone's aware of that. People do their best to review. You probably tell Claude, make sure this is not hackable, and you think it's going to do that. But it only knows what exactly you're prompting into it. So if you're unaware, then Claude Code is also unaware. Instead of beating around the bush, let me give you some solutions about the problem that we're talking about right now. Maybe you're trying to get funded, maybe you're trying to validate your idea, or maybe you're trying to also get some more users on your platform, retain some users. But you're using you're using AI to do this quicker. Let's go through and explain exactly ways that you can maybe avoid this. So cool. The first way that a lot of people get into this issue of vulnerability is API keys. What a lot of developers say is we don't want to recreate the wheel. So what we do is we use a lot of products that are external to our actual software, and we access this through APIs. But we need API keys to to get the data successfully. And that way we're exposing our data and we're exposing the data that we're trying to get access to. But if someone that's malicious gets access to these API keys, this isn't good. And this isn't good for anybody, right? So what you want to make sure is that your API keys are not on your front end. So within your code or anything like that, they can't be exposed to a malicious user. So you want to make sure they're on your server somewhere, and someone that can't open dev tools. You've probably seen dev tools before, like playing around in school. Make sure that no one can go into dev tools and get access to your API keys. If you don't want to listen to the rest of this video, please take that as one thing and change that and fix that. You can talk to Claude Code, make sure you're not exposing any API keys at all. The second thing I want to get into is user input attacks, or let's say SQL injections. You've probably heard of this before. Essentially, any sort of user input you have, so that be forms, text boxes, anything like that, someone can essentially input some sort of SQL injection, and they can get back a whole bunch of user information. Obviously, that sounds absolutely crazy. Imagine exposing all your users' data to some random malicious user. So make sure you're not doing that, and remember your front end is not a trusted environment. Number 3 is authentication. So that's users sign up or anything along those lines. So you do not want to be storing this locally or on server. You don't want to be storing this locally in your front end at all. You want to be storing this somewhere in your back end encrypted, because if you do that, so someone can get your users' passwords, they can expose any sort of data. And again, malicious people, once they get hold of that, they will not let it go. Another thing is rate limiting. So essentially, they can constantly call your APIs and ramp up your costs for your server, and essentially crash your whole software, website, whatever it is, for all your other users just by rate limiting. So you want to put in some sort of blockers or stoppers within your code to allow that not to happen. Again, just simply talk to your Claude Code and make sure none of these things happen. Make sure you're doing that when you're building out your products. Right now, a lot of founders are building very fast, shipping even faster, and just hoping. But what you need to do is make sure you're using AI in the right ways with experience. You're building with speed, but also being very, very precautious and being disciplined with what you launch and what you ship. Because if you have any sort of vulnerability, I know I'm saying this so many times, but any malicious user gets a hold of that, you're done. And what I do want to mention is that if you're trying to build very quickly to get to an MVP or to get to any sort of feature or new feature, wherever it is, first impressions count. We all know that saying, first impressions count and first impressions last. So imagine I'm a new user using a product and I've inputted some of my data and some malicious users got a hold of that data through my first time of using a product. I'm never using that product again. And we can see that if Claude Code Anthropic are having these issues, Vercel are having these issues, you are definitely susceptible to some of these issues yourself. Even though AI has given founders one of the biggest advantages in the last 100 years, similar to the gold rush back in whenever that was, it is exponentially increasing the rate of risk that we're having and the new kind of risk we're having as well. So your biggest mistake right now is not moving slowly, it is moving fast in the wrong direction without security, reliability. So if you're building right now, you definitely need a second pair of eyes because most issues are fixable early but expensive later.